This is a shortcut method for factoring quadratic trinomials. So the concept is that you take the coefficient of a and factor it. In this case a is 3, so my only factor choices are 3 and 1. And the factor choices of 12 are 4 and 3, possibly. That's one choice. And then I check to see if the diagonals do what I need them to do. For example, does 4 and 9, 4 coming from here and 9 coming from here, if I add them together, do I get 13? If that's right, then I know that I have the right factor pairs here, and in this case they will be 3 and 3x plus 4 and x plus 3. I know I'm right because this 13 matches this 13. So my factor pairs for this problem are 3x plus 4 and x plus 3. If I had guessed these pairs in a different order, say I had written down the 3 and the 1 and then had guessed, and then had put these as 3 times 4, which I could have done just as easily, then when I check the diagonals I would get 3 and 12, and when you add those together you do not get 13. So this would not be the choice that you would want to use for the factors. And you also might have guessed wrong. The 3 and the 1 are the only choices there, but this could have been 6 and 2, in which case the diagonals would be 6 and 6, which is also not right. But you would know that right away as you start to draw them, so you wouldn't have to keep going with this. So that doesn't work either. So let's look at another one so you can see, hopefully, understand how it works. So 3 and 2 for factors of 6, and 7 and 4 for factors of 21. Then 2 times 7 is 14, and 3 times 4 is 12. And since those add to 26, then this is not the right answer. So try again. How about 3 and 2 and 4 and 7? This time I get 8 and 21, and those do add to 29. And these are the winners, so the factors will be 3x and 4 and 2x and 7. Now this is a positive 28 yet a negative 29, so you have to put in 2 negatives to make that work. And you could have done this here if you knew that the factors you were looking for, if you already knew ahead of time that they were going to be negative, you could have put these as both negatives. And then this would be negative 8 and negative 21 to equal negative 29 when you add them. So this choice was a wrong choice, and this choice was the right choice. Now you might guess for a long time before you get the right pattern, but so far I've been pretty lucky. This one will be 2 times 1, and then, I don't know, let's try 6 and 2. Now they have to multiply by a negative, so when you go to check these, you're going to have to pay attention to the fact that they will be different signs when you combine them. So this will be 6 and 4, and if I combine these, making one of them negative, I will not get 5. So I know this one is out. So how about if I try 2 and 1 and 2 and 6? That will be 12 and 2, which also won't give me 5. And then I can try 2 and 1 and 3 and 4, which is 8 and 3. So that one I think is going to work. Let's see. If we do 3 and 8 and I know they need to equal -5, so I'll need this to be a -8, which means this will be a -4, and when I add those together, I'll get -5. So then my factors are 2x plus 3 and x minus 4. All right, last one. The factors here are of A are 6 and 1, or I could be using 2 and 3, but I thought I'd start with 6 and 1. Factors of 12, I could use 6 and 2. I could use 12 and 1, or I could use 3 and 4. So you might be guessing a long time before you get the right pairs, but you'll start to get a feel for it. And you can just write lightly in your pencil and then kind of write right over it if it's not right. So 12 and 6 are not going to give me 1. And these are going to have to subtract to 1. So that's not it. If I try 6 and 1 and 2 and 6, that's 36 and 2. That's definitely not it. I could try 6 and 1 and 3 and 4. But a good tip is usually the factor pairs that work are the ones that are kind of closer together. So I would try 3 and 2 before I try 6 and 1 and hope that works. And then I would also try 3 and 4 for 12 rather than 6 and 2 or 12 and 1. So here this is 6 and 12. That's not going to work. What if I did 3 and 2 and 4 and 3? That's 8 and 9. So that's going to be the one that works. And here's the 8, here's the 9, and it needs to be a positive 9 and a -8 to equal a positive 1 coefficient right here. And so to get the -8, the 4 must be negative, so the factors are 3x minus 4 times 2x plus 3. I'm getting those factors from reading this straight across and slipping in the x. So this is an x and this is an x, so that you get the x squared and the x's just right. Because now when you multiply this, you're essentially just FOILing it right here. 3 times -4 would give me the -12. 3 times 3x gives me 9x. 2x times -4 gives me -4x, so these combine to 1x, and the 2x times the 3x gives me 6x squared. So this is just a shortcut way of organizing FOILing to check your answer to make sure the middle terms work out. So there you go.